Advocacy, and Empowerment. Leanne, may I please have a roll call for attendance?
Trustee Ahuna,
Ew.
Trustee Akaka,
Ill.
Trustee Akina, Trustee Alapa,
Present.
Chair Kahele,
Present.
Trustee Lindsey,
Here.
Trustee Souza,
Ew.
Trustee Waihee. Committee Chair Galuteria.
Ew.
We have 7 present.
Mahalo, Leanne.
We have a quorum.
Before we start, I'd like to ask Halama to come and share a little pule, and just before that, I'd like to ask for a very short moment of silence for those that, it's been a rough week, and been a rough week for a lot of people. And so with that, a moment of silence, and then Halama, if you would proceed, okay? Mahalo.
E Keli'i ka makua niki ki lo o ko ke ao holo o koa. E hoi mākou I aku ko mei nei, malalo ko malu e kia kua. Kia kua nā kua, ka haku o nā haku. E nei ia oe. Maka ho maka ana o ki ia makahiki e lua kaukani I wakalu ku mama 5. No ko mea ua ho ano ia, kou inoa. Kia kua ke hapa iku nei mākou, I na mana o kia komite, e hui nei malalo ko malu o ke keena kule ana Hawai'i. Ke hapa e kunei mākou I ko mākou aloha nui I nā pōpilikia I loko ki ia pule nei ka ho'omaka ano ki ia makahiki. No ka po'e I hala ka po'e I pōpilikia kia kua ke noi aku nei e kākoa a ele I kou 5 ola malu no lākou. Ka po'e e u nei, ka po'e eha nei. Ko kākou po'e la hui paha, ke kua nao e polo e mākou. Ke kua ke hape iku nei mākou I ko aloha, ke aloha nui a oe. Ko Alaka'i ana, I ka luna ho o malu, Galuteria, I kona pola ana no hoi, kona Alaka'i ana ia mākou ki ia kakahiaka. Ke kua, ke noi aku nei e ho'opo maika'i ka papahana, I waiho ia I mua mākou ki ia kakahiaka. A pau ki a halawai e hoi ia mākou ko mākou wahi kupono. Makai no kau ke ki hiwa o Yesu Christo ka ule o pule. Amen.
Mahalo. Mahalo. Aloha, trustee. Aloha, everybody. Good morning. Morning. Believe me, there's no one more excited to see you than me. So let us begin. Welcome to the meeting of the Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. As a reminder, please mute your device's microphone until you need to speak to eliminate any background noise, which makes it difficult to hear and affects the quality of the sound of the live stream. Trustees and the OHA Kapuhana who are joining by video conference, please enable your camera if you're able to do so. All other OHA staffers, please enable your camera when you need to address the board. When you would like to speak, unmute your mic and address the chair to be recognized. When the chair recognizes you, proceed to speak. Please mute your microphone when you are done. At the prompting of the chair, BAE staff will do a roll call to determine quorum and when the committee votes on matters. If you are disconnected, we will pause the meeting for 1 minute and wait for you to log back on. After 1 minute, we will proceed with the meeting provided we have a quorum. If you need to leave the meeting, please inform the chair by announcing you are leaving. Now, joining the trustees today is our CEO, Stacey Ferreira, along with various other support staff. I will now call on CEO Ferreira to introduce the administrative staff that will be joining us today. Kapuana.
Mahalo Chair, aloha kakahiaka to Vice Chair and trustees. Joining us today administratively, we have Chief Operating Officer Kehau Pu'u, Chief Financial Officer Ramona Hink, Interim Corporation Counsel Everett Ota, Interim Senior Counsel Nichi Ozawa, Senior Director of Strategy and Implementation Elena Farden, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs Hailama Farden, Lead Compliance Specialist Kamakana Ferreira, Director of Education and Culture-Based Learning Ku'ulea Anuhea Awo Chun, Director of Economics and Business Resilience Poni Askew, Interim Information Technology Manager Kevin Chalk, IT Systems Engineer and Administrator Arlene Aguinaldo. And if I may, Chair, ask for just a little bit of time to have two new directors come to the front and introduce themselves to the board. The first, I'd like to ask Luana Alapa, Director of Advocacy, Chief Advocate, to introduce herself and say hello.
Aloha kako, can you hear me? So my name is Luana Alapa. I am originally from the island of Kaua'i. I moved to Oahu for school when I was 10. I graduated from Punahou class of 96. I lived about a decade on the continent for schooling. And, you know, I came of age during the 90s when there was a lot of activity around the sovereignty movement, and the apology resolution was issued in 93. And at that time, OHA was kind of the tip of the spear with seeing how the apology resolution would actually be implemented, you know, having the lawsuit and seeing if that would prevent alienation of ceded land. So I feel like OHA was a formative part of my, you know, thoughts as a young person, thinking, how do I want to apply my education? And like I said, I was on the continent for a while, but when I got my law degree, I knew that it was time to come home and I wanted to use it to do community work. So when I came back in 2011, I started in litigation at Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation. I was working primarily on a case some of you might know. It was to allow our men who are imprisoned in Saguaro prison to practice Native Hawaiian religion, observe makahiki, have certain sacred objects in their cells, pa'akai, meet with a kahu, speak in olelo, and not be punished for that. I spent several years in private practice. I worked at Earth Justice, also in litigation, doing environmental work with a number of community groups across the Pai'aina. And recently, yeah, I had the honor of joining the team here. And again, you know, OHA was a part of my consciousness as a young person. I feel honored to be here, participating in the work, and, you know, mahalo all of you for your service, and look forward to getting to know you and working together.
At this time, I'd like to call up our Director of Community Engagement, Lisa Vaughn Sekona.
Aloha, aloha mai kākou, Lisa Vaughn Sekona. I'm grateful and honored to have the position of Director of Community Engagement. Similar to Luana Alapa, we grew up in the same time period where awareness and mana'o was being built for our generation in the sovereignty movement. I too had a stint in the legal career, working in law. It's funny because from there I transferred to the nonprofit world to be of service to my lahui, and quite a few of the people I worked for were all former attorneys, and so we called ourselves the Reformed Attorneys in our practice. But being of service to our community, and particularly in community engagement and bringing our lahui together, is core to my heart and my foundation. And so, as I said, I'm very proud to be in this position and to work with OHA and the trustees for the betterment of our lahui. Mahalo.
Yeah.
Go. Mahalo again. Welcome to the Ohana, you folks. Happy to have you with us. Before we proceed with the agenda, I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to the previous board and committee leadership. We owe a special debt of gratitude to our chair emeritus, Hulu Lindsey, our previous board chair, and to former BAE chair Kaleihikina Akaka, who has joined us virtually. We appreciate your unwavering commitment and thank you sincerely for your service. Today, I want to make sure that we revisit our purpose and goals for the Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. And I'm doing this basically to hear myself speak and also to get it on record. So as we see it, the primary mission is to ensure that the needs and rights of our beneficiaries are represented and advocated for effectively. We aim to empower them through support, resources, and education. We'll continue to work on initiatives to raise awareness about the rights of our beneficiaries, to conduct workshops and community outreach programs, and to explore new avenues for advocacy. We recommend expanding these programs and seeking additional partnerships with continued relationships within and outside our lahui. Bear that in mind. Beyond that, beneficiary advocacy is clear. But I've been trying to wrap my head around, and you guys are going to help me out because you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. What is empowerment? What does empowerment really mean? And within the context, as I see it, of indigenous peoples, it involves providing the tools, resources, and opportunities necessary to take control of their own lives and destinies. So, it encompasses, in my opinion, several key aspects. Firstly, empowerment means supporting our right to self-determination, to govern ourselves, to make decisions about our land, culture, and future, and maintain our sovereignty, safeguarding our language, traditions, and cultural practices. This includes promoting and revitalizing our cultural heritage to ensure it is passed down to future generations. Who's going to be sitting on this table in 10 years? Empowering and providing opportunities for economic independence is crucial. This includes access to education, training, and support for Native Hawaiian businesses, enabling them to thrive. And you folks have heard me constantly mention political muscularity. I'm kind of tired of hearing myself say that too, but I'm going to continue. Ensuring that we have a voice in local, national, and international political arenas is vital. This helps us advocate for our rights, influence policies affecting our lahui, and participate fully in decision-making processes. Our rights to ancestral lands and resources is fundamental to our identity, livelihood, and well-being. Providing equitable access to quality education and healthcare empowers the lahui to improve our overall quality of life and ensures that future generations are well equipped to succeed. And finally, addressing historical injustices and ongoing discrimination is essential. The dispossession was real and must and will continue to be acknowledged. But, and hear me loud and clear, we will not subscribe to a woe is me mentality. We're going to lead, we're not going to follow. Okay? So empowerment is promoting social justice, equity, and human rights, ensuring that we are all treated with dignity and respect. It's a multifaceted approach that's going to require collaboration and commitment and the brain and heart power of everybody on this table and in this room. So, having said that, let's proceed. Let's do some business. Okay? Oh, thank you, Trustee. Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is business item A, Island Burial Council nominations. There is a motion on the table that we will entertain. Shall I read it now?
So
Or
move.
read it later.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can move it to approve the individuals listed in section A above as the Office of Hawaiian Affairs 2025 nominations to the Oahu Island Burial Council, Hawaii Island Burial Council, Maui Island Burial Council, Moloka'i Island Burial Council, and Kaua'i Island Burial Council, and to authorize the administration to timely transmit these nominations to the governor. Trustee Ahuna, I heard.
Second.
Okay, and Trustee Waihee, we have a first and a second.
Chair, there are no testifiers.
There are no
for this.
testifiers?
No.
Okay. Any discussion on the matter?
Oh, thank you for all the names. It's very important that we continue that. So thank you.
Yeah, so just to be clear, Kapuana, this is not a slam dunk. There's going to be dialogue going into the big meeting with the board. Is that how it works going forward?
If you'd like, if you want to have more information on process or what the
Okay.
next step is, once we approve it and it goes to the governor's office, we can share more information now, or we can wait till tomorrow.
What I'd like to do, since we do have the time, we all are together, maybe just a brief overview of how these names are vetted.
Sure. I'm going to invite Kamakana Para to come up. He can share what our statutory mandate is.
Yeah.
In OHA's kuleana in bringing names forth to the governor, and then how the process that we used to vet these names.
Okay. And Kamakana, brief is a good word.
Oh, this one? Well, Chair. So in the statute, HRS 6043.5, there is specific things that they're looking for in candidates, particularly knowledge of burial practices, Hawaiian culture practices. And so we kind of like engineered a scoring rubric around that. And a solicitation went out and applicants submitted their resumes, and they could, it's optional to submit a letter of intent, but there's also an online application. And so through our scoring rubric based on what's in 6043, and that's how we evaluate each applicant. The committee consisted of myself, Kai Markel, the compliance enforcement manager, and also Kuike in strategy and implementation.
Okay, trustees, any questions for Kamakana? I have one question and then Pau.
Sure.
When vetting the candidates, is it basically academic, or do you get into the cultural and the past practices of the candidates?
So there's different, so some of the scoring criteria is demonstrated experience with iwi kapuna issues, research or knowledge of Hawaiian burial practices, or experience with historic preservation laws in the Island Burial Council. That's just some of the scoring criterias. And we score their resumes, online applications, and any letter of interest. Criteria.
Okay, very good.
Wrap up by sharing what happens once the board approves the names. Where does it go? What is that second round of approval?
Yeah, so we'll have final say. It ultimately, currently, as the statute is written, it goes to the office of the governor, and they're obligated to elect at least 20% of the list that we provide. So you can expect that at least 20% will make it through. Given that there have been applicants from OHA and the department over the years, I'd like to think that perhaps the governor's office might.
Okay, and lastly, is there two paths to membership on councils? One is DLNR
Yes, that's correct.
and the other is OHA.
Yes.
Okay, very good. That's a big lift. Yeah, Trustee Akina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that. And Kamakani, I thank you for your work on this. I have a question about the number of nominees we make
Mhm.
per Island Burial Council. that will be selected? You said 20%.
Yeah.
Is that for each of the different island burial councils? 20% for each, or is it 20% of the total number of nominees?
It's my understanding it's 20% of the total nominees that are submitted.
So we don't have an assurance that an OHA nominee will be appointed to each of the island burial councils.
Technically, yes, it's possible.
It's possible that it could be the case that we have a representative on each burial council, but it's possible that we won't.
Well, I mean, it is technically possible, yes, that we might not have one of our nominees on one or a few of the councils. In my experience, that hasn't been the case, though.
So generally, they've been distributed
Yes.
between the councils.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mahalo, mahalo, kamakana. Thank you. No other questions, yeah? Okay, if there's seeing none, if the board is ready, then we have the motions on the table. And I believe we can vote on this. Leanne, may I please have a roll call vote?
Aye.
Trustee Akaka? Aye. Trustee Akina?
Aye.
Trustee Alapa? Aye. Board Chair Kahele? Trustee Lindsey? Trustee Souza?
Aye.
Trustee Waihee?
Yes.
Committee Chair Galuteria?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mahalo and aloha. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our second item of, our action item is the Public Land Trust Bill. It's a motion to, we'll entertain a motion to approve the bill relating to the Public Land Trust Working Group recommendation for inventory and audit funding as drafted in attachment A. Leanne, are there any testifiers on this item?
There are no testifiers at this time.
Okay, may I please have a motion to approve? Okay, thank you,
Second.
trustee Souza, second by trustee Alapa. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay, before we take action on this matter, I want to thank,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
okay, trustee Akina.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question about this. Am I correct in understanding that the Act makes this allocation of funds exempt from the procurement process? And if that's the case, if I can address that to
Sure.
the administration, if that's the case, if they could share the rationale.
Kapuana, did you hear what he had to ask? Please repeat yourself, trustee Akina.
Thank you, Kapuana. Just asking a bit about the process of the funding. Am I correct in understanding that this is exempt from the procurement process? And if so, what the reasoning is?
No,
Okay.
there
so
should,
I'm
no, we
not-
will follow procurement, and that is our standard operating procedure.
Very good.
But let me clarify. So in the bill, and I guess I won't take you through all the additions. You do have the bill in front of you. So one of the substantive changes, because this is actually a bill that was introduced last session, but it was at a much lower amount. We're asking for 1 million. That's a estimated cost of at least starting the inventory audit. What we're going to be doing with this particular bill is we are asking for the legislature to approve the funds. This was a recommendation that came from the Public Land Working Group's recommendation. So this was Act 226, which required the working group to come up with recommendations. So this is a deliverable from that working group. Similarly, there will be another funding request for the same amount, totaling $1 million. 750,000 will come from the governor's budget, through a governor's message of $750,000. And if so approved by this board, we will be putting in $250,000 in our OHA budget. So total together, it'll be $1 million. So it'll match this bill with appropriation. And we wanted to have as many opportunities to get this approved. It's that important for us to get an accurate inventory. And so that's the big change from last session to this session's bill, is just the increase to $1 million. Yeah, it's to ensure accuracy, self-reporting, verifying the, the revenues for each of the departments who have been submitting. Go ahead. Hold on, Everett wants to add in an additional comment.
Go ahead, Everett.
Good morning, trustees. It was actually, sorry, just to correct this, something that Kapahana just mentioned. The bill actually does include a procurement exemption for, I know, it's actually something that we took from the Public Land Trust Working Group. So we're introducing the same bill that was previously sought by the Public Land Trust Working Group to seek the same type of funding from last year. So it's not something that OHA necessarily put in ourselves, although we are a member of the working group. So just to correct that, it is a little bit unusual, but it does call for a procurement exemption for those services for the funding. So I just to correct.
Can you clarify then what the procurement exemption allows for?
It would allow us to have this expenditure not subject to the procurement codes, state procurement code chapter 103D. Correct. And it would, I think, be based on kind of the specialized nature of this review work, you know, and seeking general funds for that purpose. So what the working group did in this go around was seek this funding that had previously been sought last year for similar work that again has been identified as necessary by the working group to further its purposes under Act 226. The bill that they introduced last year was adopted again and asked to kind of seek that same updated funding of $1 million, both through a governor's message that kind of carves out part of the executive budget seeking that funding, but as a parallel option, also seeking to introduce a bill via OHA of that same bill that was introduced previously, but with that updated amount up to $1 million of general funds.
Okay.
So it's
Trustee.
just it's a carryover of sorts from what the working group sought last year, but that's just the language that again was included.
Okay, gotcha. Trustee Akina, do you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. Just to go back to the question about procurement process, my question is not about the increase in funding. That seems to be reasonable and in line with the fact that the last time there was such an inventory attempted, that was back in 2015 and 16. And costs will certainly have gone up, and inclusion of other items, as Kapuana mentioned, would be there. But could you explain just a little bit more why we have to go outside of the procurement process to get the results we want, and how we can assure to the public and our beneficiaries that the safeguards usually in place with procurement process will be adhered to?
So I think the exemption kind of speaks to again the specialized work of what's necessary to look at both a review of land inventories as well as the financial receipts that are being reported by the agencies and to confirm their accuracy. So this is somewhat specialized, and it's not just kind of a general, say, audit, that's done annually of the various agencies or even businesses. But in terms of, a review, I mean, I think we are also seeking to have those funds transferred to OHA and OHA to be the one to administer and seek that contract. So we would be, looking to find a vendor that's capable of doing that work and then engaging with them, that is also part of it, right? To ensure that the working group has the information that it needs to, and the work itself is also going to take a considerable amount of time, given experience with the past financial reviews of PLT receipts and inventories. It's a lot of groundwork with the agencies.
Yeah, no, just a comment to add on to this. It adds a layer of protection to stop the state from stealing the land. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion, board, before we hit the question? What I'd like to do is to thank Chair Hulu for leading the charge to get us to this particular area right now. Would you like to share anything before we vote, Chair?
Well, it's been a very interesting 2 years on the public working group. And I think that we worked really well together with the state people and they went with us. And what I found, what I wanted to say about this 1 million, the governor specifically sent a message through one of his members on the public land working group that he would be willing to put 750,000 of this 1 million in his personal message to the legislature. So that's encouraging. And his comment was that he wants to give the legislature the idea that we are working together, OHA and the state. So that will encourage them to approve the $1 million. So, yeah. And thank you for your service on that group too, Brickwood.
Chair, I just want to clarify, because what Lindsey is sharing is really encouraging, as she said, but we are not, if we do get the governor's message, the 750 and then the 250 from OHA, that will go through the regular procurement. And basically what it's going to be is appropriated to DLNR and expended by OHA.
Okay. Anything else, board? No? Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the bill relating to the Public Land Trust Working Group, a recommendation for inventory and audit funding as drafted in attachment A. Leanne, may I please have a roll call vote?
Chair, before we do that, we have a new system on calling people who want to testify. And I see we have a guest, Jermaine Meyer, on our screen. And so we need to
Acknowledge her?
acknowledge her, and then there's instructions on how we can move her to be able to testify.
Okay, we want to be transparent here. So before we begin, I'll go over the public testimony guidelines. And this is going to be really important because this chair is going to stick to the time. Okay, public testimony should be limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda and will occur as we proceed through each item on the agenda. If you begin to address other issues not on the agendized item, the chair will call you out of order and direct you to limit your testimony to the item currently being considered on the agenda. Your name will be called, your microphone will be unmuted when it is your turn to testify. If you are not audible, you'll be muted and the next testifier will be called. State your name, organization, agenda item you're testifying on, and your position on each agenda item. Oral testimony online will be limited to 5 minutes. A timer will be on the screen. Your mic will be automatically muted once you completed your oral testimony, or if your allotted time expires. Okay, so let's proceed. Is Jermaine there? Jermaine? Aloha. And bear in mind that we're doing this for the first time, so, we're going to get some hiccups, some bumps along the way. Okay.
Aloha, Chair.
Oh, there you
Aloha.
are. Moloka'i
Yes.
go.
I was just unmuted. Mahalo for the opportunity, but I didn't raise my hand yet. I'm interested in giving testimony on the very next agenda item.
Oh, okay, very good. Very good.
Okay.
Then okay, Jermaine, so stand by, all right? Okay, so Leanne, are you ready? Let's have a roll call vote on item B.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
trustee Akaka. Did you say yes? Trustee Akaka?
Aye.
Thank you.
She's muted.
Trustee Akina? Trustee Alapa? Board Chair Kahele? Trustee Lindsey?
Aye.
Trustee Souza? Trustee Waihee? Committee Chair Galuteria?
Aye.
9 votes. Motion passes unanimous.
Mahalo for that, everyone. Okay, we'll now proceed to new business section 2C, C, item C, which is approval of an additional, approval on an addition to the 2005 OHA legislative package relating to the Hawaii Community Development Authority framework for residential development in portions of Moloka'i. It allows for the Hawaii Community Development Authority to approve residential development on certain parcels of land in Moloka'i area and to raise the building height limit on certain parcels in the area. It also provides other measures as part of the framework for residential development in the Moloka'i area. Leanne, I know we have some testifiers.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I believe that would be
That is Jermaine Myers.
Jermaine. Okay, Jermaine, you're up. Go ahead. Aloha.
Hold on, please.
Hold on, Jermaine.
Jermaine, can you accept the promote to panelists so we can unmute you? There, did you do it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There she is. She's muted.
Aloha, Chair. I've been waiting for the unmute all this time, so I'm sorry for being delayed. Is it okay to give testimony? Can you hear me? Chair, can you hear me? Okay. Aloha, my name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. I'm glad to see that OHA will be pursuing residential development rights for Haku'one, Kaka'ako to fulfill the state of Hawaii's promised settlement value of $200 million. Otherwise, the value of the lands will be equal to $40 million. I recall previous presentations of the inherited lands of Kaka'ako revealed, number one, OHA inherited lands that have leases the state required OHA to honor until its expiration. Number two, bulkhead needs to be repaired for $60 million. That will also allow us to build these residential towers. Number three, OHA also came into realization that the state did not amend the residential restrictions so OHA can build its residential towers at Haku'one, Kaka'ako. OHA have existed for 46 years. We become an adult at age 18 years old. So OHA have existed for 2 family generations. Empowerment to me means to transform beneficiaries to benefactors. As beneficiaries, we need resources to support ourselves and our ohana. As benefactors, we have resources to help ourselves, and to help others. We are transformed from we need for ourselves and our ohana to we serve others and their ohana. With residential at Haku'one, Kaka'ako Makai, Hawaiians will have the opportunity to make Haku'one in urban Honolulu their home. Many use the term, we are priced out of paradise. Paradise is a mainland concept. Locals don't call Hawaii paradise. Locals call Hawaii home. Ke Akuapu, God bless all of you.
Mahalo, Jermaine. Appreciate that so much. Do we have any other testifiers? Any more? None?
No, we don't.
Okay, very good. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of action item 2503, BAE 2503, approval of the bill related to Hawaii Community Development Authority framework for residential development in portions of Kaka'ako Makai, as drafted in attachment A. Do I hear a motion? So moved.
Second.
Okay, so moved by trustee Souza, second by trustee Alapa. Okay, any discussion, members? If not, we're ready for the vote? Okay, very good. Leanne, may we have a roll call vote?
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Yeah, she says aye.
trustee Akina,
Aye.
trustee Alapa,
Yes.
board chair Kahele, trustee Lindsey, trustee Souza, trustee Waihee, committee chair Galuteria.
Aye,
Motion passes unanimous, 9 votes.
very good, thank you. All right, we've reached the end of the agenda. Do we have any announcements or the next? Today's a busy day for us. We're starting a new chapter in our committee meeting. So, Chair Alapa, what time is your meeting today?
Our Budget and Finance Committee meeting is at 11 a.m. So I hope to see folks back here at this time.
Okay, 11 a.m.
Mhm.
Chair Souza, what time is yours? Committee on? Okay, basically for our audience. So, yes, okay, we'd like to welcome our new chair, Kahele. Chair?
Am I live? Chair, I just wanted to say how much it's a pleasure to see you here. You know, we've all been thinking about you since, you know, just prior to New Year's Eve. I know it was probably not the New Year's Eve that you had expected to spend, but it's great to see you here, and thank you for making the effort to come in today and be with us. It really means a lot. Also, I just wanted to mahalo our CEO, Kapuhana, and the entire administrative team and your senior leadership team that thoughtfully prepared for our budget briefings in front of the House Finance Committee and the Senate Ways and Means Committee. I personally thought you did a fantastic job, and your staff clearly was well prepared and very thoughtful, very precise in your words, and I think you set a fantastic example for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs as we approach this very important 2025 legislative session. So, you know, just kudos to you for the preparation, the hard work. It's just beginning. Ledge begins next Wednesday, and we have a lot of work ahead for us over the next 4 months. But I think our message was well received. Our budget request was well received. I think we articulated why these requests are important for OHA, and looking forward to working with you to bring those legislative priorities to fruition. So great job.
Mahalo, Chair. I appreciate your kind words, and mahalo to the team.
Mahalo, Chair. And, you know, one final thought, everybody, you know, we are like a family that disagrees with each other a lot. and agrees with each other a lot. But the overriding theme for us is aloha. Okay, we are OHA and we are aloha. So let's proceed through this year with that in mind. Okay, that we won't always agree with each other, but we will aloha and respect each other and our views, our point of views. So with that in mind, I'd like to call this meeting with a big mahalo and ahui ho kako malama pono. Our meeting is now adjourned. We forgot something. Oh, we got to vote on it, huh? Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn. Let me, Dan, you so. Second. I don't really care who. Okay, Ahuna, Akina. Okay, okay. Can we have a vote on that?
Aye.
Trustee Akaka, sorry.
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Aye.
Board Chair Kahele, Trustee Lindsey, Trustee Souza, Waihee,
Yes.
Committee Chair Galuteria.
Aye.
9 yes votes.
And
so
with one
motion
big
passes
column aye.
unanimous.
This meeting is adjourned.